Hey guys, it's a new patch, so we have a new secret mount to get. In this video, I'll show you how to get the Hivemind mount. This is quite the unique one. You don't ride a brain, you are the brain, and other people who have the mount as well can click on you and sort of melt with you as a passenger, and also increase your movement speed by 10% per person, up to 4 people max. For all of these secrets, I always give credit where it's due. And as always, the Great Secret Finding Discord were the ones to uncover this mount. And this video itself was made using a guide from warcraftsecrets.com. On here, you can find fully detailed guides on not only this, but a bunch of other mounts and pets and toys, all sorts of stuff, and in text form if you prefer that format. Before heading out, you will want a coordinates add-on because you may be going against a timer depending on your route. I recommend TomTom. And you'll also want the paste add-on to quickly paste in all of these waypoints. I'll have both the add-ons and the waypoints all in the description for you. You may also want the Hivemind Halls of Origination puzzle helper for one of the puzzles. I'll talk more about that when we get to it. And you'll also want access to a seahorse mount for the Vashj'ir zone, so you'll either have to do a few quests there, or just pick a character that you know you have it on already. You also need about 2,500 gold in total before you start this, and you should turn off war mode as well, because you don't want to have to deal with PvP while you're doing all of this, of course. Your first step is to head on over to Shattrath City in the Burning Crusade, and visit the NPC Grifta, located right here on the map. You need to buy the Talisman of True Treasure Tracking from him. It costs 35 gold without reputation discounts. You'll want this amulet equipped throughout the entirety of the secret hunt. After equipping it, you'll notice some items glowing on the table behind him. A fish, a feather, a pyramid, and a letter, with only the letter being clickable. Each one of these represents different colored monocles, and to get the mount, you'll eventually need a party with 5 people, with 4 of them each having a unique monocle. So, out of the 4 puzzles I'm about to explain, you can try and pick the one that appeals to you the most, and find 3 other people with the other colors. You can do all 4 if you want, but it's not necessary. So, the colors are green, blue, red, and yellow in order from easiest to hardest. So, let's start with the green monocle first. This one is very straightforward because the puzzle is the same for everyone. The feather that you saw on the table clued players to the Skyreach dungeon, located right here in the Spars of Iraq in Draenor. Enter this dungeon on any difficulty, and make your way to the final boss. To your left, facing the boss, will be a console with a set of instructions, and to the right of that will be a console with 5 buttons. Clicking on the middle activates the puzzle, and clicking the 4 adjacent ones moves a sun throughout the puzzle and changes the color of the various nodes. You can always click the middle one again to reset it if you want. Someone translated this to the following steps. Click the one in the middle, and then click these orbs in the following sequence. The puzzle is the same for everyone, so this should work for you. After completing it, a chest spawns in front of you, and that holds the green monocle. Like I said, this is where you can stop if you want. If you can find 4 more people, with 3 of them having the blue, red, and yellow ones, you can skip to the end. I'm gonna go over all of them anyways though, since I imagine there'll be a ton of people with the easy ones. The next easiest one though, in my opinion, is the blue monocle, which is the letter sequence. Returning to Grifta, clicking on the letter reveals the following message. The key factor in successful WASP ignition is a solid ad campaign. Once you have TomTom and paste installed, do /paste show and paste in the following waypoints. Again, I'll have all of this stuff in the description for easy copy pasting. Basically, we need to collect a bunch of different letters in order, so just follow these and pick them up one by one. Note that you do need to click on all of these to get the monocle. You can't skip around or anything. So the next one is located in Highmountain in the Prepfoot compound. How'd they know that? Well, taking all of the words with the capitalized first letter, we have the, factor, wasp, in, ignition, and add. These words form an anagram for the anticipation for Deathwing. And if you remember in Legion, there's a chain regarding Deathwing here, so it makes sense. They eventually track down this letter to a tent on top of this box at coordinates 5727. This one reads, "Of all of Guy's cures for nature, the most liberating is death." Using the same method, these words form an anagram for the seat of the Guardian, so naturally Karazhan is the next stop. Specifically, the old level 70 raid version, which is the ground entrance right here. You find it in Medivh's quarters on his chair, located right after the chess event. After completing it, take a right and go up the spiral staircase and into his room, and you'll see his desk at the end here. You are still able to solo this. There's plenty of guides on YouTube covering that already. If you have trouble though, I'll include my run in the description if you want to see exactly how I did it, along with my route to reach this room, since this place is kind of a maze. This one reads, "I sat dumbfounded, watching as the most subtle rat reached for the cheese a third time in under an hour." It forms Bramble Undead, which leads us to the Razorfen Downs instance, located right here in the Thousand Needles. Look for this giant boar skull, and just keep going through here. You then want to make your way to the final boss at the top of the spire, and to the left on this crate will be the next letter. Mrs. Sin will accompany you down the longest streets of the underworld, and this is an anagram for the Mistress of the Nest, which led players to the Mount Hyjal zone right here on the map. At the top of this tree, in this room on a table to the right, is the next letter. The elite champions will rule the world with the mightiest FC. This creates the derelict flow, so the next stop is the Ironwall Dam at the edge of Icecrown. Up high on one of these spikes is the next letter, which reads Re, the Codex of Mastering Sine Waves. Ox Residence is the solution, so the next stop is Pandaria. Specifically the Newzout Temple in the Townlong Steppes. You can find it right next to this little shrine. This one reads, "Mice look so sad when they have a cleft lip. Hoping you succeed, Anna." This one is an anagram for the Pinnacle of Magic, which led us to the Borean Tundra. In the Koldara area, way up high, you can now find a chest which contains our next monocle. And next, for the red monocle, we have the Vashir trading sequence. This is sold by the NPC Sir Finley Mrrgglton for 5 each of captured cavitation bubbles, potent gastropod gloops, and scintillating murloc skin lotion. Basically, there are a bunch of fish vendors spread all over the zone, and you have to trade items between them to get all of these. They have limited durations though, so you have to do them in such a way that they don't expire by the time you collect all of them. This is where the TomTom and Paste add-ons will be really handy here, and you'll also want 2500 gold, at least 10 inventory spaces, and at least 50 minutes of free uninterrupted time before starting. So the first step is to go into your add-ons menu in TomTom and disable the waypoint auto-clearing feature. You do this by setting the range to 0. Next, open up your paste menu by doing /paste show and put in the following 6 waypoints. Your starting point is to buy 500 seashells from Sir Finley in the Shimmering Expanse zone. Before we begin though, I should share some tips. To buy multiple items at a time, just shift click them, and note that it does cap out at 255 even if you select 500, so don't get fooled like me and think that you got 500, only to realize halfway to the next vendor you only have half of that. So just buy 2 stacks of 250. As for the fastest way to travel between these NPCs, I chose to return to the surface towards my next target at a 45-degree angle, and once I hit the surface, I switched to a flying mount. I did this mainly because there can be some things that you have to go around in the water. I wanted to be able to go full auto run and sort of read ahead in my guide, and look at my waypoints and take inventory of my items to make sure I'm on track. If you're in the water, you have to go around things and dodge whale sharks, which just distracts you. I'm not sure if it's faster or slower, but I completed the whole thing like this no problem, so I imagine it'll be fine for you as well, as long as you have the fastest flying speed like I do. Another tip is that these NPCs can be kind of tricky to spot sometimes. Some things I did to make this easier was typing /target the NPC name and then mark them with the raid marker. It just helps tracking them down a bit, since you're basically looking for fish amongst a ton of other fish. It also helps to make sure that you have your target shown on your minimap. Note that if it's above or below you, It'll show you with a little arrow. And lastly, you may notice a little arrow on the bottom of your screen. This is built into the TomTom add-on. Just ignore it because it may be out of order. So, buy 500 seashells from Finley at the coordinates I provided, and your next stop is southwest to the Abyssal depth zone to find the Volatile Violetscale. You can find him near the seafloor. From him, buy 100 cavity-free great shark teeth, and your next stop is the Manta Stargazer to the northeast. You can find him near the surface of the water, and from him, you need to buy 50 Razoreel larvas. Next, you want to head southeast to Little Whalley in the same zone, this time closer to the seafloor, and from him, purchase 250 well-fed doctorfish. And next, you want to head west to the Abyssal depth zone to the Gloomy Bluefin, again near the bottom of the ocean, and buy 10 freshly molted crab skins. Next, go northeast to Old Fish Breath in the Kelpthart Forest. He's located about midway to the ocean floor, and from him you need 50 glittergill glitters, which last for about 30 minutes. At this point, you should right-click any waypoint on your map and select Clear All Waypoints and paste in the following 6 fresh ones. This is just good housekeeping, so you don't have 100 green dots to chase. And again, I'll have all of this clearly labeled in the description. Our first stop for this group is once again Sir Finley, southwest of us. This time buy just 80 seashells and head west a bit to the Gloomy Bluefin, once again near the seafloor. From him, you need 2 giant toenail clippings. Next, head northwest to the little carp again near the floor, and from him, get 4 Mrrgglton eyes. Then, it's southwest to the Volatile Violetscale again for 1 accidentally severed seahorse fin. Then it's east to the Crimson Anglerfish for 3 shiny serpent scales. This guy moves around a lot, so you'll be better off just spam clicking instead of shift clicking. After that though, you want to head north to the Manta Stargazer near the surface and buy 40 symbiotic plankton. And from here, we go west to Finley to buy 5 scintillating Murloc skin lotions. This is the first of 3 items that we need for the monocle, but the next 2 are much faster. We got this one first because it lasts for an hour. So, now that we're done with this grouping, once again clear all of your waypoints and paste in the following 5 fresh ones. From Sir Finley, buy 300 seashells total, again being careful that it caps out at 255 per purchase. Next, you want to head east to Old Fish Breath again. This time, buy 30 Vantis black squid inks, and next you want to head all the way southwest to the Blackfish. This one is across the map, and it'll be the tightest window. I did my strategy of returning to the surface and auto-flying, and I had over a minute left on my timer, so as long as you don't make a wrong turn or anything, you should be good to go. He's located on the seafloor again, and from him you want to buy 30 super slick eel slimes. And next you want to head east to the Volatile Violetscale again, and purchase 3 rock encrusted whelk shells. From there go north to the little carp, and buy 6 potent gastropod gloops. That's our second item, so head back to Sir Finley to the east, clear all of your waypoints once again, and paste in these 5 fresh ones. You need to buy a whopping 1500 shells this time. It's best to do it in 6 groups of 250. So from here, you want to head southeast to Little Whalley and purchase 300 very pretty corals. Next, go to Old Fish Breath to the north and purchase 100 iridescent shimmery skins. And next up is a Crimson Anglerfish a ways to the south again, and this time you want to grab 20 luxurious luck scales from him. Again, I recommend just spam clicking since he moves around so much. And next up, we head all the way back to the Blackfish to the west. You need to get 5 captured cavitation bubbles from him. And the last step is to return to Finley to the northeast to buy your monocle. And that's it. A little hectic, but it's not too bad as long as you have about 50 free minutes. And the last one is the yellow monocle. The pyramid behind Grifta led players to the Halls of Origination dungeon located in the Uldum zone. Make your way to the elevator right here and click the orb through the floor to activate a puzzle. Head to the northern path to find that a secret staircase has opened up, which grants you access to this room. Here you'll find a bunch of lights and refractors. The goal is to make all of the lights the same color, and you click on the refractors to change the color, and they do different things. The plus ones change everything in a line through adjacent tiles until it hits another crystal, and the crosses do the same, but in a cross formation from the crystal, and the circle does everything around it. It's basically a giant lights out game. There is an add-on for this I mentioned earlier called the Hivemind Hall's Puzzle Helper. You basically just go square by square, inputting what each spot is, and once you finish it, you click the go button, and it'll tell you what pylons to click and how many times. It's kind of the wussy route. I took it because I'm horrible at these types of games. So unfortunately, I don't really have any advice other than just use the add-on. I guess people like starting from the edges like a puzzle, and they find it easier doing it that way. Personally, I get frustrated and I just rage click everything, so I just use the add-on myself. An even easier way though is that once you solve the puzzle, you can just invite people to loot the chest, so you can try getting it that way. I'm not sure if that's intended or not, and if it'll be fixed, but as of this video, it's possible apparently. If you are successful though, the chest will appear in the middle, but be careful not to click the orb again, or else you'll just reset everything. But those are all 4 monocles. If you look at the flavor text for each one, you'll have noticed that they're inscribed with a sequence of letters. If you write out the alphabet twice, and then from that string, removing these inscribed letters, you're left with this string of letters, which rearrange to spell out Wild Withered. So the next step is to visit the Suramar zone, and for this you'll need 5 people like I mentioned. I highly recommend getting on voice comms, as the next steps require a lot of coordination, and you need to be able to sit down for a while since this is the home stretch and you'll be getting the mount as a group. Just check your group finder to see if anyone's on this part. As of this video, there are a ton of them since the secret is still fresh. So to sum it up, there are 4 special withered within this zone with glowing eyes that match your monocle colors. Red Rikai at 7263, Blue Blamen at 5729, Green Galuzui at 2047, and Yellow Yoralan at 4482. These are all normally friendly to you, unless you have the corresponding monocle color equipped. There's also a house at coordinates 4169 that has a room blocked by 4 colored beams. What you need to do is kill all 4 of these withered at once, and once they drop to 0%, they channel a spell that makes these beams dissipate, so you need to have 1 person posted at each of these withered, and 1 at the door. The way we did it was we brought all of them to 15%, and then we stopped DPS. Make sure that you take off any gear or talents that proc damage, since you don't want to kill them too quickly. Once we had all of ours at 15%, we would start a DBM timer, and once that reaches 0, you all need to DPS a wither down to get them to cast that spell, at which point the person in the room runs in. This has to be done as a group, and like I said, voice comms are vital. Now unfortunately, I was one of the people killing, so I don't have footage of the room. Hopefully this screenshot will suffice for you though. For whoever is inside the room, you need to find an object called the Lost Cat Toy right behind some pillows next to a bookcase. You also need to have that treasure finding amulet equipped to interact with it. Once you click it, you'll take some arcane damage and get teleported out. You need to write down how much damage you take because this serves as a code. Just go into your combat log if you missed it under what happened to me and type it in party chat to save it. It should be a 4 or 5 digit number. So once you have that, your next step is to head to the Court of Stars dungeon as a group. It doesn't matter what difficulty you set it at. Note though, from here, if your group dissipates for whatever reason, you will have to redo the withered step with a new group if you'd like to try it again. So again, be in it for the long haul here. Right outside the second boss in this house, you'll find an NPC named Lady Shatan. Around her, she has 5 cats wandering about, and that's Mrs. Fluffy Muffins, Shadow, Mew, Ash, and Bella, and when you pet them, they get a buff that stacks. That number that you saved earlier is the code for how many times you have to pet each cat. In my run, it was 67094. The first number is tied to Mrs. Fluffy Muttons, the second to Shadow, the third to Mew, the fourth to Ash, and the 5th to Bella in that order. Note that if you got a 4-digit number, that means you just treat the first digit as a 0. So in our case, we needed to pet Mrs. Fluffy Muffin 6 times, Shadow 7, Mew 0, Ash 9, and Bella 4 times. The buff only lasts for 15-ish seconds, so the way to do this is to assign each group member to a cat, and the person who has the highest number starts first, and then the other members sort of wait so the buffs line up. So in my case, since I have a 6 and the highest had 9, I waited until he pet him 3 times, and then I started with mine. The person who had 4 would have waited for 5 pets. Like I said, they just all need to have the correct stacks at once, and with a 15-second window, it's not too bad. It doesn't need to be exact. Once you're successful though, a purple orb appears, and clicking on it will teleport you to a room with a platform in front of you. Hopping on it will spawn and despawn other platforms, and the goal is to get all 5 members to the other side. This is also something that's the same for everyone, so there does exist a set of steps that you can just follow if you don't feel like figuring it out for yourself. Again, I'll have all of this in the description for you. You can also click the red arrow to reset, which brings you back to the beginning. So what you want to do is just assign everyone a number, and have one person sort of coordinate everything. I took the lead for this one as number 1, so the first step for me was forward twice, and then I said number 2 on Discord, go forward, left, and forward, and so on. Note that you all start from the middle platform. It's not too bad if you follow those instructions. Obviously comms are going to be hugely helpful here. Typing it out is just asking for trouble. Once you finish the last step and everyone's in position, go ahead and click the red arrow to dismount, and all 5 of you walk up to the door to reach the final step. Here you'll find a bridge that teleports you back if you step in the purple stuff, and a floating platform going from one end to the other. It's basically that famous puzzle where you need to get people across the river using certain rule sets. I think a popular one is that family of 6 going across with a child that can't be left alone, an adult has to operate the raft, and the criminal can't be left alone with anyone, and so on. Well, for this, all 5 of you need to get across, and only certain people are compatible with each other. Anyone can go on the platform, but halfway through you'll get scanned, and proceed if you're compatible, and get sent back if not. Go ahead and assign everyone with a mark, and open up a notepad file because you need to figure out who can cross with who. It is kind of buggy trying to get on. We found if you go on this mark right here, sort of 3 steps down, you should be able to do it pretty reliably. So the way you do this is to first find the person who's compatible with everyone. This is someone who could ride with each member of your raid in a pair of 2. So you'll want to keep trying groups of 2 until you find the one person who can go with all 4 other members one by one, keeping track of which combinations didn't work in a notepad or something. In our case, our escort turned out to be green. He can't go solo, but he can go with any other member. And next, we kind of brute forced our way to find a combination of 3 people who can make it across with each other. In our case, it was green, red, and skull. We did this just by trying groups of 3 over and over, and marking down which ones didn't work. It wasn't too bad, as there's not a ton of combinations. So you have these 3 players cross, and have one of the non-escorts hop off at the end. The escort always stays on because he sort of ferries everyone around. He's the least restricted player. The platform goes back to the beginning, and your other non-escort jumps off, and one of the people not in that special group of 3 hops on. They cross back, and the non-escort jumps off, and the first person to cross the bridge hops back on, which is me in this case. So we're heading back to the start. We did have an error here, so please excuse the jump cut, but what you want to do is to have that 3rd member of the original 3 hop back on here so we can cross again. At the end, have just one non-escort jump off, and we loop back to the beginning. I hop off, and I trade places with the only person there. And once they reach the end, the non-escort jumps off once more, and the member of the special 3 hops on, so now we're in a situation where 2 people out of the compatible 3 are on their way back, with that magic 3rd waiting at the beginning. So that person hops on, and now all 3 of you can cross. If this makes sense to you, great. Hopefully I explained it pretty clearly. If not, please check out that link in the description where you have everything in text, along with handy diagrams and whatnot. But that's pretty much it. From here, you just each stand in these purple circles, click the Hivemind, and you should all get it. And that's the Hivemind secret in its entirety. Quite intricate, as you can tell. They're really getting more and more complex as time goes on, and it's pretty fun. Personally, some are out of my league, so I just followed guides, but the ones I could solve were really rewarding and cool. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and it gives you an easier time than what I had. Remember to re-equip your Heart of Azeroth before your next raid too, by the way. Here's the mount again in all of its glory, and our little group photo that we took. Good job, team. Again, hats off to the Secret Finding Discord, Warcraft Secrets, and everyone involved. All credit goes to them. I'm just a guy putting things in video form for you, so check out those links in the description if you'd like to join them for the next hunt. I hope you found the video helpful, like it if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.